40% of voters heading to the polls in November identify themselves as politically independent, according to a Gallup poll released this month. Linda's new book is out, and it is the best book ever written on independence, The Swing Vote. Let's talk a little bit about what's in your book, Linda. Against the backdrop of 2008, where President Obama, according to exit polls, won independent voters with 52% of the vote, McCain only had 44%. We know that they are sort of the chosen part of the electorate. And what's interesting in your book is you break down the notion of the independent voter into several different blocks, including NPR Republicans, Facebook generation in Colorado, America First Democrats in Ohio, and Starbucks moms and dads in Virginia. Tell all of us a little bit about that.
Those are the four groups. Those are the four key demographics of the swing vote. So NPR Republicans would like Mitt Romney. NPR Republicans are the moderate, pro-choice, have a balanced budget, socially moderate Republicans who did vote for, a big chunk of them did vote for Barack Obama last time around. Then you have the America First Democrats, who are, the NPR Republicans are what we used to call Rockefeller Republicans. Mm-hmm. The America First Democrats, my term, are what we used to call Reagan Democrats. Those are really up for grabs this time. They did not go for Barack Obama in a big way in 2008.
That's the Hillary vote from 2008.
That's the Hillary vote. They liked Bill Clinton. They don't see Barack Obama as being very authentic. They don't identify with him that much.
And demographically, I would assume they're older, whiter, working class.
That's right. Male. Yes. Ohio is one of the states I focus on in the book. You find them in the Rust Belt. Then you have the Facebook generation voters, the young voters under 35. They obviously turned out in a big way for Obama. I think they are not so much up for grabs as it's a question of will they turn out? Are they as enthusiastic this time around? And I think that's a big question. A lot of them are looking for jobs. A lot of them are feeling the economic pinch. And they are disappointed that this wasn't as a post-partisan presidency that they thought it would be. And then finally, of course, the real power swing voters are the Starbucks moms and dads.
Who don't listen to NPR. Apparently, I'm just, trying to get clear.
Some of them might, but they're the suburban voters, and they swing wildly. In 2006, they voted for the Democrats. They voted for Obama. 2010, they swung more than 10 points for the Republicans. They were very disappointed in what was going on. Now they are totally up for grabs, and the sale has not been made yet. They probably will not decide until October.
And maybe they will stay home. Is that an issue?
It could be, but the stakes are quite high.
Right.
And I think these voters, they care. The voters that I talk to, these centrist voters, they do care. I think it's a big myth that independent and centrist voters are just wishy-washy. They're not wishy-washy. They just, somebody has their phone on, they just, they like some things that the Republican Party does. They like some things that the Democratic Party does. They're in the center.
But I wonder, the inimitable Chris Matthews on this program yesterday said, look, the problem with the Republican Party is that Newt Gingrich and the Tea Party, to a certain degree, are dragging this party, the Republican Party, so far to the right that come time for a general, it's going to be nearly impossible for them to get back to the center and have a message that independent voters are going to embrace.
There's also the question on the other side. If you looked at Obama's State of the Union address, where he went hard populist, hard left, anti-Wall Street, anti-banks, minimum 30% taxes. We're going to send a ninja team in to investigate the banks. How does that play with suburban swing voters who may not like that kind of rhetoric?
He also had a message, though. I swear he's read my book, because he also had a message for the America First Democrats. He talked about the jobs. He talked about tax credits for companies that create jobs here. He talked about taking away the tax benefit when companies move jobs overseas, which are two things I talk about. So America First Democrats are hurting. Factory jobs are disappearing. Creating those jobs are vitally important to those kind of voters in Ohio.
Well, and the equality argument, I think, is one that might transcend sort of.
It might, but how does that play to the the Starbucks people who are not necessarily that interested in the class warfare type of argument and are not necessarily against wealth or very interested in seeing people's taxes go up, who don't live or die by whether the wealthy pay 15% or 30%?
Here's the thing, and I don't understand why the Democrats aren't pushing this more. The last time that capital gains were this low low was during the Great Depression. That's the last time. In the Reagan administration, who of course is a god to the Republicans, sorry, I have to put my glasses on.
We like the stats correct.
In the Reagan administration, capital gains started at 20%, but the tax reform brought it up to 28%. Right. It was only every time in the Clinton administration, it was at nearly 30%. So the idea, where are the jobs? The idea that having a 15% capital gains tax rate creates jobs, I don't think.
Well, yes,
but it's not about the capital gains tax rate. It's about marginal rates. We're not talking about.
Nor is it about truth. The Republicans have said over and over again, Barack Obama has raised taxes on the American public. A lie, not true. He's lowered them. And so when we talk about, the Democrats should be arguing that point more forcefully, a lot of the factual information has not stuck in this campaign. It's worth mentioning, though, Stanford University says, just in terms of numbers to win 2012, it's good enough for Democrats to split the independent vote, whereas Republicans need to carry a clear majority. So I think if we're talking about the president's strategy on this, they may think, well, we can exfoliate a couple independents because we don't need numerically that vote as much as the Republicans.
It didn't work for Gore. It didn't work for Kerry. Bill Clinton, obviously, we're not running in 1996 with a great economy and without sort of the Occupy Wall Street dominating the scene. But the last time a Democrat won re-election, he won re-election on a more centrist, moderate appeal to the suburban swing voter, Starbucks voter, not this kind of people versus the powerful argument. I think that's their only play. But
people always mention Gore. He did win more votes than the other guy.
Well, so you say.
Facts. Again,
I don't think we actually know the answer.
No, nationally he did. He won the national.
Well, he won the vote. Right. So do we elect presidents on the popular vote?
I don't. But
I think we have an electoral college.
We don't. But if you're doing the strategy, do we have time for another question?
I don't think we really do. But if you'd like to make one more point, we'll be talking about.